Good morning and welcome to day 18. I am grateful today because I'm feeling a lot better. I may sound still nasal and that's slowly going to go away, but I am so grateful. I had a good night's sleep yesterday for at least 4 hours. That's been more than I've been having in the last few days, but today I feel great. And so it's a great day to talk about goals. Um, this is sort of that next step that we're going to take towards getting to where we want to take our journey and see how we move from setback to triumph. Because at the end of the day, you still want to be able to set a goal. You want to be able to know what you want to achieve, because what you can't put down into specificity, you can't measure. And what you can't measure, you can't improve. So we want to make sure that we take our progression of looking at energy, looking at what's our limiting beliefs. What are those limiting beliefs? How do we change those limiting beliefs? What are the things that are holding us back? What are the things that are possible? And how do we achieve those that we want? And so today we are going to talk about goals. And I'm not going to go into specific on how to set goals and what's a smart goal and all of that. I'm going to take you through a slightly different journey today, and hopefully this will resonate with you in terms of how you're setting your goals. Because at the end of the day, if you really want to set your goals and you want somebody to be accountable for you for holding those goals, then I invite you to work with somebody like myself or another coach that can take you through that process. But today, what we're going to do is to see and make sure that you understand what are some of the 5 or 6 things that you can do to make sure that your goals are aligned with what you want. Because remember, at the beginning of the thing that we talked about was the ikigai. What is your raison d'etre? What is your purpose of living, right? What is your purpose of waking up in the morning? Are you doing what you love to do? Are you being paid for what you do? What are your skills? And how can you contribute to the world? And when you find that intersection between those four, then you know what your purpose is. And when your purpose is known, then your goals are known. And when your goals are known, then you can start doing activities that achieve those goals. So let's start with a quote from Rumi. And it says, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I'm changing myself." I know this sounds confusing. Most of Rumi's quotes are really hard to decipher at the first reading. But really, what I get out of this is, one, take care of yourself first, right? And I've been saying this over and over again, right? When you change your energy, when you change your internal self, then the outside will shift by itself, will change by itself. Really, really important to do that, right? So we need to always, always, always start with ourselves. When we start with ourselves, then we're clearing up all of those blockages. Remember, we talked about that energy, that if it's a negative energy that needs to be broken, it needs to be destroyed. And so you can create a new energy, because energy cannot be destroyed or created. It can only be transmuted. So what are you doing to transmute your energy, right? The second is that you always have a choice. You always have a choice. You are an infinite being. So when you're infinite being, your limitations are infinite. You have no limitations. And so when you create that choice, when you create that unlimited availability to you, how do you go about doing that, right? We talked about money yesterday and what some of the money blockages and limiting beliefs are. And we unfortunately or fortunately subscribe our success to how much money we have. But I have invited you to change the definition of success. And when we change the definition of success, when we change the definition of what money means to us, because money is an energy that needs to create. But if you're holding that energy with a negative thought, then you're not going to be attracting it. So when we set our goals, money should be one of our goals, but not all of our goals. If you set your goals just on money, then you are bringing the negative energy that's in there with you. So set your goals slightly differently. And there's 3 things that I suggest you do. Reflect on what is really, really important to you. And for those of you that know how to set SMART goals, SMART is an acronym that sets for make sure it's specific. Make sure it's measurable. Make sure it's achievable. So you need to make it's a stretch goal. You can't say, well, you know what, I want to be able to walk 2 steps a day. Well, we're all going to walk 2 steps a day, right? And health experts say we should be walking 10,000 steps a day. So can we make it 10,100 or 10,500? It's achievable, but yet it's a goal, right? Make it realistic, right? I want to go and live on the moon may not be realistic, although it is an achievable goal, but is it realistic today? So make sure it's realistic and make sure it's time sensitive. So yes, I want to live in the moon, but I want to make sure that we live in the moon in the year 2029 or 2030, right? Or something further out. So it's time sensitive. So you know when you have to achieve it by, and you need to create actionable steps to be able to achieve those goals. So let me invite you to look at 7 steps to achieving effectively your goals that you want to set. Now, remember, you don't have to be a fantastic hero. You don't have to do things in a certain way to compete. You can just be an ordinary person that is unique, that's sufficiently motivated to reach the goals, because remember, you're not competing, you're creating. And where you're creating, there is no competition. Setting goals is one of the most commonly training tools that are available to us. And goals often are organized in a way to compete. But if we set them up in a way to create, to achieve specific tasks, they also increase our motivation for long-term learning. And it also increases our motivation to grow. And as we build and achieve our goals, we're motivated to do more and more. And so our goals become more stretchable. The key is to make the right goals. When the goal in itself is created that's not correct, we unfortunately do not get to the right goal. So the most important point of the 7th step is define your goal. Make sure your vision is clear and powerful. Make sure it is one that you can follow despite whatever setbacks and failures you may get. You remember that example that I gave of a child. When a child starts walking, they'll fall, but they'll get up and start moving because their goal is to be able to walk. What exactly is it that you want to accomplish? Would that achievement be worth every best effort of yours? And what if you attempted, if you knew it was impossible to fail? And what if you knew this was your last chance? But it doesn't have to be that extreme. Whatever your goal is, make sure it's your goal, that you align with it, that you feel good about it, right? Your goal would be to read 2 books. So make it specific. Make the goal, I want to read 12 books this year, and then break it down to that I want to read 1 book a month, and then break it down to that I want to read 20 pages a day or 10 pages a day. When you make it general, like I want to read books this year, well, how many books do you want to read? Is it 1? Is it 10? Is it 5? How are you going to know when you've achieved that goal? And since the key becomes is to evaluate where you are, you need to have a baseline and be honest with it. Where are you right now? Have you just been getting by, or are you working to get to that next level? Carefully examine where you are now. Are you willing to do the things that you may not want to do in order to reach the goal? You may want to lose X amount of pounds. You may want to build some muscle. But if you're not going to the gym, you're not going to be able to build that muscle. If you want to read 12 books by the end of the year and you're not reading 10 pages every day, how are you going to get to that 1 book a month or the 12 books in 12 months? Right? Be honest about what you need to do. In order to go where you want to go, you have to know how to get there. If I want to go from here to Edmonton, I need to know, am I going to drive? Am I going to fly? Am I going to, take the bus, take the train, glide, whatever it is? How are you going to get there? And you have to know that. You need to know your strengths. You need to know your weaknesses. I may want to get a charter plane and go, but then I may also look at it and say, well, do I have the financial freedom to be able to charter a plane on my own? The next thing is maybe I need to take a common carrier. All right, let's look at the common carriers. Do I want to travel first class? Do I want to travel business class? Do I want to travel regular class? Again, what are my options? When am I willing to go? If I'm going to read 12 books, I need to know what time can I devote to it. Is it in the evening? Is it in the morning? Is it during the daytime? Is it my lunchtime? Is it my washroom time? Whatever it is. What sort of situations do you thrive or deteriorate with? You may say, I want to read first thing in the morning, but if you are not able to wake up early enough to be able to do that, is that an achievable goal? So the next thing becomes important is formulate the daily improvement plan. This is the most important step in goal setting that is avoided. If you want to increase your speed of doing something, put that down, that I'm going to work 15 minutes of doing something like, if you want to speed read, I'm going to read how to get it better. And I'm going to read books so that I know my speed. What can you do to reach that goal? For each goal, write down at least 3 or 4 specific actions that you can take. And write them as the present statement. I, in the present time, am doing this. Not I will. That is the law of manifestation that we're going to talk about. Imagine it already being done. And make and work on those short-term goals. The goal that you set in step 1 may take a lot longer to get to. So can you break them down into smaller steps? I want to read 12 books in a year. How many is that every month? How many is that every week, pages wise? How many is that pages every day? Set short-term goals so that you're motivated throughout the process. Achieving these goals will be important to you, and that progress will motivate you. You should be process-oriented and reflect on achieving the goal on an ongoing process, because this is a journey. So what small steps can you do today? And then I invite you to also look at the other way. What can you stop doing? So if you need to read 12 books and you're spending time watching Netflix all evening, can you cut back on Netflix and replace that with reading? So it's not only about what you're doing, it's about what you're not doing as well. And remember to commit. Consistency is what pays dividends. It is easy to say, I'm going to do this, but actually doing it is difficult. How often have we gone into seminars or webinars just like this one, where we walk out and we're all motivated and yes, I got to do this, I got to go do this. And then we get caught up in the daily practices of which are habits. Remember, we talked about thought, action creates habits. We make New Year's resolutions all the time and then they fall apart. Second guessing yourself, missing opportunities, hesitating, taking the first step. Remind yourself it is a journey that you're going to enjoy. It's not the goal that's important, it's the journey. Because even what you do small steps wise will make you grow every time. And here's what a lot of people fail to do is have somebody that you're accountable to, even if that's yourself. Ask yourself daily, are you getting closer to your goal? Is your goal plan actually working, or does it need adjustment? Remember, you always have a choice. Just because you wrote that down doesn't mean that it's cast in stone. Adjust it. I may want to look like a muscle builder or a workout guru. And I said, I'm going to do it in 3 months. And when I start going to the gym, I realize, well, it's just a little more difficult to do that. Then I may want to adjust my plan and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to put it on as 2 years or as 12 months or 26 months, whatever that is. But make sure that you're accountable for your goals to yourself or by somebody else. If your answer to any of these is, I'm not sure, then you're not really making progress. Write down what your small success lessons have been along the way. Make a checklist, make a chart. In times when it seems like your goal is too far out, you can look at your progress, visualize, see how far you've come, see how much closer you are. Remember, it's a journey. Often we forget what we have achieved. Often we're our biggest critics. Often we focus on the negative as opposed to the positive. That limiting belief has a strong sense to get to us. Remember that example of the weed. Given the right environments, the weed will always, always outpower the grass. So how do you focus on achieving your goals? Well, here are 10 steps to happiness by our spiritual leader, Nitya Shanti, who I love following. Think what is giving your life nourishment. It is crucial to step back and think what is giving you joy. What is the meaning? Your ikigai. This nourishment recharges your lives. Just the way you need to recharge your phone, your computer, you need to recharge your own battery. What is nourishing you? Being is happiness. Happiness is being. Present moment. We'll talk about this. True and real happiness comes from being present in the current moment. Remind yourself you're not here to please others. You're here to live your true life. Are you living the life that you want, or are you living the life that others want? We're going to talk about this tomorrow on the 5 kind of spaces: family, work, leisure, holiday, and my space. How are you creating your space? Show up, be present in the moment, share your gifts. Whatever you can do, that is part of your ikigai to be able to contribute to the world. Share it with others. Collaborate, do not compete, create. Access your inner power. Life will always protect you. Love is intense power. Love and fear, as we have understood, cannot coexist. Someone is waiting for exactly what you have to offer. Nitya Shanti often says that there's somebody somewhere out there that is willing to change spots with you right away. Can you be in gratitude of the space that you're in? Your job is doing things with your hands. Your career is doing things with your hands and your head. But your calling, your ikigai, is using your hands, your head, and your heart. So find what that is. Find that balance. Find that integration. Find that intersection. Everything in life is about conversations in 3 marriages: marriage to the significant other, marriage to work, marriage to self. Remember, I talked about the 3 things: your health, your finance, and your work, your profession, your career, your calling. It's that integration. Rethink them. I choose to love what I do until I can do what I love. This model will give you fulfillment and happiness just where you are right now. And if you set your goals with that motivation, that you will love to do what you do until you can do what you love, it changes everything. So as you're setting your goals, use this worksheet. What do you want to do, stop doing so that you have time to do what you want? What do you want to do less of? What's working for you? What can you keep on doing? What can you do more of? And if you want to achieve your goal and you're not doing it, what can you start doing it? Can you put that down into the next 4 or 5 weeks? Every week, fill this worksheet that achieves your goal. I want to thank you. We're attending our last weekend Sunday, Monday, where day 19 and day 20. Day 21 is going to be a recap. I invite anybody that sort of joined us sporadically through the week to join us on the 21st, because that's going to be a question and answer day as well. It will be a short session. Again, like everything else, we're going to answer your questions. And again, I thank you all for being with me in this journey. If this has inspired you and you want to be held accountable, put your goals in our chat. And I look forward to seeing what your goals are and how we can achieve them together. Thank you and have an awesome day.